Term limits in Bossier City is taking the center stage for not only the March election, but also the May election. KTBS 3's Sydney Lane has more on that story.
Term limits is causing some confusion for Bossier City voters because there is a version of term limits on the March ballot, but this is not the version that the Bossier Term Limits Coalition has been fighting for. The coalition's version of term limits will be on the May ballot.
With two versions of term limits, the Bossier Term Limits Coalition has been spending a lot of time in the community trying to teach about the differences.
The term limits that they have on the ballot now are overwhelmingly confusing to everybody in Bossier City. By not having both term limits on the ballot where they can compare the two, the public thinks they're accomplishing what they wanted.
This confusion has many asking what is the difference in the two versions. The March version would allow city councilmen like Jeffrey Darby, who has been on the city council for almost 30 years, to run again.
Their term limits version allows him to run an additional 12 years, which would put him at 42 years. He could sit out a term, then run another 12 years.
The term limits in May is the version the coalition petitioned for. This version is retroactive, and councilmen can only serve 12 years.
Our term limits version was to try to affect government where we would have fresh people in office with fresh ideas, fresh energy, that will bring more ideas to the table to, create change.
The March ballot is also when Bossier City will elect new city councilmen. The coalition has also been helping with council campaigns while educating on the difference in term limits.
So this is something we've been trying to educate people as we're canvassing and letting them know this candidate supports term limits, this candidate does not support term limits, and here's the difference between the two. Whether you're pro-term limits, you're against term limits, the most important thing is to go out and vote and make sure that your voice is counted.
I spoke to KTBS constitutional analyst Royal Alexander. He said that if the version of term limits in March passes and the version in May passes, then the May version will be what the city abides by. Sydney Lane, KTBS 3 News.